was like, oh yeah, I want to knock out, I want to do the 2 birds, 1 stone thing. Make a driving video over some roads in Bangkok. I had to make videos before. And to do kind of like a Tales from the Gym type sort of thing. This past week, couple of weeks, some things I've noticed with the current crop of Thailand at the camp, foreigners at the camp. Is this current group, there's quite a few guys that fall into a category I've talked about before. They're gonna find out they're not really cut out for being a Muay Thai fighter. And not because they don't have the potential skill or potential talent. They don't have it where it matters the most. In the act. And I can... Real knows real. And there's a lot of this is cool, not this is what I am. Do you understand what I mean by that? Differentiation of categories. I think this is cool, I want to fight. This is what I am. This is what I do. The latter category is the ones that have a chance of doing something here. The former category is, sightseeing. Combat tourists, I guess. Which I imagine I sort of fall in the category of. And I guess to some extent maybe I'm criticizing out of jealousy to an extent. Because I couldn't get over here when I was young and could actually fight for the purpose of trying to climb up a ladder as opposed to fight to be a novelty, which is what it would be if I fought now, which I kind of do. And I don't mind being a novelty per se. Yeah, it could be a little bit. Who knows? But mostly I think I get a chuckle out of the guys that I know are like, oh, this is cool, man. Thankfully, hold on, let me pay my toll. Thankfully, healthcare and medical attention is easily available here, not very expensive and all that. So when these guys get the smack of reality, which would be, stitches from elbows and so forth, it's not going to cost them too much out of the pocket necessarily. But yeah, there was a guy the other day. This is why it's really sticking in my head. Actually, it's 2 reasons why it's sticking in my head. I'll go with the not so bad reason why I know that. Oh, you're here to you want to do this to be cool type guy. I can tell when they're lazy, and what I mean by lazy is you've got X amount of time to be here to train towards this goal you're supposed to have. You should never take a day off. I don't care what you feel like. if that's your real goal and you're here for that goal, you should not ever take a day off or a session off unless you have a legit injury of some kind that you need to nurse. Otherwise, you have no reason, okay? And I saw a guy last week in one of the crews was like, hey, why didn't you train this morning? And this guy's like staying at the camp pretty much. So he really, I can't find any kind of excuse for him to not do it or not put in the time. And then whenever I do see this guy putting in time at the camp, he's doing like calisthenics and weightlifting, and so I don't see him working on any of his skills ever. Yet have I noticed him actually working on his combat. I see him working on his physique. You know, which is, yeah, it's a part of it. You definitely want to be as physically fit as possible to get in that race. And you want to be at your strongest and all those kind of things. But if you ain't got the skills and the techniques, that shit is completely worthless without the skill and the techniques. And then the other one, the recent, just yesterday actually, and I feel somewhat bad, guilty about how I reacted. So this guy, I don't know his name. I'm not even going to mention the country he's from, which I do know that. He's a younger guy. I'd put him in his early 20s. Possibly even late teens, honestly. That's how young he is. Like, he could be anywhere between 18 and 20 if I was to guess. This is why I wanted to drag pictures of this bridge. One of the bigger over the river bridges. Really good skyline view. Especially over that way, look at that. Beautiful, beautiful. But the guy, he just arrived at the camp yesterday. He was talking to us about, wanted to set things up for while he was here, and maybe get him a fight and all that. I heard him talk about he's been training for a year or something like that, I think he said. I actually have it on film, what their conversation, but it wasn't actually part of my session, so I didn't curate it, download it, whatever you want to say. I just edited out of the stuff that I did for him. But I believe he said something like he'd been training for a year already, blah, blah, blah. The crew kind of put it to him, matter of fact. Oh, you don't have any basics yet, or you don't know the fundamentals even really. When you kick, you dab, like the dance step dab, like dab. And that got a big laugh out of me, and I felt kind of bad for laughing at the kid. But, it's true. Well, what do you want me to do, man? Learn proper placement. And then for some of the other guys, there's one guy that's new there that definitely fits into the category that is, this is what he is, this is what he's about. Unfortunately, though, I don't think he's in his journey far enough to where he can make an actual impact, so to speak. But that being said, sometimes I see this guy and other aspiring foreigners that are coming here to fight professionally and such. They'll see how I work the pads and how I kind of spar with the crew, And I think I don't think they understand how long it's taken me to get to this level of skill and technique. It didn't take 1 month. It didn't take 2 months or even 30 months. Which 3 months is usually about the max amount of time I see foreigners train. Because that's about the most you can get on a visa is 90 days consecutive before you've got to reset everything or whatever. Things have changed a lot though over the last couple of years here as far as visa details in regard to Muay Thai. I wish those things were available when I first came here to Thailand. It would have been very helpful actually. Which may, again, go back to feeding my jealousy about this. The young folks that get to come here and do what I wish I could have done when I was there. And how I think some of them are squandering it or not worthy of it. And I try not to come off as too much of a jaded curmudgeon when I speak about those things, but strictly observed and report. And there must have been some kind of fucking accident. This road is never congested like this at this hour. What the fucking fuck?